First contact gone wrong. Admiral Helena Reyes stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital defense platform Sierra, watching the stars with practiced calm. 30 years in the United Defense Force had taught her that panic never improved a situation, and this situation certainly warranted panic. "Confirmation on those readings, Lieutenant Chen?" she asked, her voice steady despite the emergency unfolding before them. "Confirmed, Admiral. 17 vessels of unknown configuration, emerging from what appears to be a spatial distortion at lunar distance. They're accelerating toward Earth orbit." Helena nodded. First contact. Humanity had been expecting this day, preparing for it for decades, ever since the Deep Space Array had picked up the first unmistakable signals of non-human intelligence 15 years ago. But no one had expected it to happen quite like this. No warning. No attempt at communication, just 17 warships appearing at the edge of Earth's face. "Broadcast the first contact protocol on all frequencies, all languages," Helena ordered, "and alert the Defense Council. We're at Condition Alpha." "Yes, Admiral," Chen replied, fingers dancing across his console. "Broadcasting now." Helena watched the view screen as the alien fleet approached, their ships unlike anything human engineers had designed. Asymmetrical constructs of dark metal that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light, moving with eerie synchronicity. "No response to our broadcast, Admiral," Chen reported after several tense minutes. Helena's mouth tightened into a thin line. "Keep broadcasting, and bring defensive systems to standby." Quietly. Earth had changed in the decades since humanity had begun detecting signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Nations had set aside their differences, not completely, of course, human nature being what it was, but enough to form the United Earth Defense Council. Resources that might once have gone into fighting each other had been channeled into a planetary defense system unlike anything in human history, a system that was largely invisible to anyone observing Earth from space. "Admiral, we're detecting energy buildup in the lead vessels. They appear to be charging weapons systems. Still no response to our broadcast." "Nothing, ma'am." Helena sighed. Not how she'd hoped humanity's first encounter with aliens would go. "Activate the Aegis network. Keep it passive for now. Detection only." Across Earth, in deserts and mountain ranges, beneath oceans, and hidden in plain sight in urban centers, the components of Earth's defense grid silently activated. Quantum sensors, gravitational detectors, and systems far more exotic began mapping the alien fleet in exquisite detail, information flowing to command centers buried deep beneath the planet's surface. "They're launching something, Admiral," Chen called out. "Multiple projectiles, accelerating toward major population centers." Helena's decision was immediate. Aegis active. Intercept and contain. The first wave of alien weapons streaked toward Earth, trailing plasma as they entered the atmosphere. In New York, Tokyo, London, Beijing, and a dozen other cities, millions looked up to see what they thought were meteors blazing across the sky. None reached their targets. Kilometers above each city, the projectiles suddenly slowed, then stopped, held in place by invisible fields that defied conventional physics. On the observation deck, Helena allowed herself a small smile at the successful demonstration of technology that had consumed trillions in global resources to develop. "Projectiles contained, Admiral," Chen reported. "Sensors indicate they're fusion-based explosive devices. Yield estimate would have been catastrophic." Helena nodded. "Open a direct channel to the alien fleet." When the connection was established, she spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Admiral Helena Reyes of Earth's United Defense Force. Your weapons have been neutralized. We wish to establish peaceful communication, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Please respond." For nearly 30 seconds, there was silence. Then, a harsh, guttural voice replied in accented but clear English. "This is Supreme Commander Carax of the Dominion Armada. Your primitive defense cannot withstand us. Surrender your world or face extinction." You have one planetary rotation to comply. The transmission cut off abruptly. Helena exchanged glances with her officers. "Well," she said dryly, "that was unproductive." "Admiral," her tactical officer interrupted, "they're scanning us. Intense energy patterns focused on our defense installations. They seem to be trying to map our capabilities." "Let them look," Helena replied. "Maintain current defensive posture, and get me the Defense Council." Within hours, the Caraxian fleet had positioned itself in high Earth orbit. Their scans continued, probing for weaknesses in Earth's defenses. Occasionally, they would fire a single projectile toward a seemingly random location on Earth, only to have it intercepted and contained by the Aegis system. In the secure conference chamber beneath Geneva, the Defense Council debated humanity's response. Representatives from every nation watched footage of the alien ships and their failed attacks. "They're testing us," Helena explained, standing before the assembled leaders. "Probing our defenses, looking for blind spots or weaknesses." "Can they break through?" asked the Chinese representative, her expression grim. "Eventually, possibly," Helena admitted. "No defense is perfect. But so far, they're using conventional weapons, fusion bombs, kinetic projectiles, nothing our systems can't handle." "What about their technology level?" This from the American counselor. "How do we compare?" Dr. Aisha Okafor, head of the Scientific Analysis Division, stepped forward. "Based on our readings, they're approximately 50 years ahead of us in propulsion technology and energy generation. However," she added with a small smile, "they appear to be several decades behind us in quantum field manipulation and gravitational engineering." "That's how we're stopping their weapons," Helena explained. "They don't seem to understand the technology we're using. They keep trying the same approach, expecting different results." "So what do we do?" asked the Brazilian representative. "Wait for them to get creative." Helena shook her head. "I recommend a measured response. Show them we can do more than just defend. A demonstration of strength without escalation to full conflict." After hours of debate, the Council reached consensus. Earth would demonstrate its capabilities but avoid unnecessary destruction. A warning shot, delivered with precision. As Helena returned to her command center, reports came in that the Caraxians were preparing a larger attack. This time, hundreds of projectiles were being readied. "They're getting desperate," Helena observed. "Time for our demonstration. Target their smallest support vessel. Minimal crew, from what we can tell. Activate the Sol Lance." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, a weapon that had been theoretical until 10 years ago powered up. Drawing energy from the quantum vacuum itself, the Sol Lance could deliver precisely targeted energy across vast distances. "Ready, Admiral," Chen reported. "Fire." A near-invisible beam lanced from Earth toward the Caraxian fleet. It struck the targeted vessel, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then systems across the ship began to fail. Lights flickered and died. Propulsion cut out. The ship drifted, powerless but intact. "Open a channel," Helena ordered. When the connection established, she spoke with deliberate calm. "Supreme Commander Carax, we have disabled one of your vessels without destroying it or harming its crew. This is a demonstration of restraint, not weakness. We again invite you to peaceful dialogue." The response was immediate and furious. "You think this impresses us? Our main fleet carries weapons that could turn your oceans to vapor. This was merely an advance party to test your defenses. You have failed our test, and now you will witness true power." The transmission cut off, and sensors indicated the Caraxian ships were rapidly repositioning. "Admiral," Chen called out, alarm in his voice, "they're deploying something much larger. Energy readings are off the charts." Helena watched as the alien fleet assembled what appeared to be a massive weapon, components extending from multiple ships to form a single massive apparatus. "Analysis," she demanded. Dr. Okafor studied her readings with growing concern. "It appears to be a gravitational amplifier of some kind. If I'm reading this correctly, They intend to create a localized gravity, well powerful enough to. Admiral, they're targeting our moon. Helena's blood ran cold. Earth's moon, if significantly disrupted, could cause catastrophic effects on the planet below. Tidal disasters, orbital instability, ecological collapse. Can Aegis stop it? Okafor shook her head. Not directly. This operates on principles beyond what Aegis was designed to counter. Helena made her decision. Alert all Earth defense stations. Prepare the Prometheus Protocol. As the Coraxian weapon powered up, creating a visible distortion in space between their fleet and the moon, humanity revealed its final line of defense. Across Earth, hidden installations activated technologies that had been theoretical when the alien signals were first detected. The Coraxians fired their weapon, a concentrated beam of exotic particles designed to temporarily increase the moon's mass 1,000-fold, creating a gravitational catastrophe that would tear Earth's crust apart. The beam never reached its target. Halfway between Earth and moon, the energy encountered what appeared to be empty space and vanished. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then, slowly, a network of crystalline structures began to appear where none had been visible before, forming a vast lattice surrounding Earth. The lattice is holding, Chen reported, awe in his voice. Energy absorption at 87% and stable. The Coraxian attack, meant to destroy human civilization, had instead revealed Earth's most closely guarded secret, a planetary defense shield based on crystalline quantum technology, invisible until activated, capable of absorbing and redirecting almost any form of energy. On his flagship, Supreme Commander Karax stared in disbelief at readings that made no sense. Impossible, he hissed. Their technology is primitive. Our intelligence confirmed it. His science officer, trembling slightly, offered the only explanation she could. Commander, it appears they hid their true capabilities. As Karax contemplated this disturbing revelation, his communications officer reported an incoming transmission from Earth. Admiral Helena Reyes appeared on his screen, her expression calm but resolute. Supreme Commander, your attack has failed. We are now preparing our response. I suggest you withdraw your fleet while you still can. Karax snarled in defiance. You bluff. If you had weapons capable of threatening my fleet, you would have used them already. Helena smiled thinly. We were hoping to avoid unnecessary violence. That's no longer an option. The transmission ended, and Karax ordered his fleet to prepare for a full assault, only to discover that the energy from their gravitational weapon, absorbed by Earth's defensive lattice, was being redirected. Beams of concentrated energy lanced out from the crystalline structure, striking not the Coraxian ships themselves, but the space around them. Space-time warped and twisted, creating localized distortions that disrupted the fleet's formation. What is happening? Karax demanded. They're creating micro-singularities, his science officer stammered. Controlled gravitational distortions that are interfering with our drives and weapon systems. Karax watched in mounting horror as his supposedly superior fleet found itself trapped in bubbles of distorted space-time, unable to maneuver effectively or bring weapons to bear. And still, humanity had not actually destroyed a single Coraxian vessel. Humanity's counter. As dawn broke over Earth's major cities, citizens were treated to an unusual sight. The silhouettes of alien warships, caught in a complex web of shimmering energy, visible even in daylight. News outlets worldwide broadcast images of the trapped Coraxian fleet as governments released carefully prepared statements explaining the situation. This is not how we hoped first contact would proceed, the Secretary General of the United Nations announced in a global broadcast. But rest assured, Earth is protected, and diplomatic channels remain open should our visitors choose peace over aggression. In her command center, Admiral Helena Reyes was not quite as confident as the public statement suggested. The containment fields holding the Coraxian fleet wouldn't last forever, and the energy required to maintain them was straining Earth's resources. Status of the lattice, she asked. Holding at 92% efficiency, Admiral Lieutenant Chen replied. But we're seeing signs of adaptive countermeasures from 3 of their vessels. They're attempting to modulate their energy signatures to slip through the containment fields. Helena nodded. The Caraxians were technologically advanced after all. Given time, they would find weaknesses to exploit. How long until they break free? At current rates of adaptation, 4 hours, perhaps 5. Then we need to change the situation before that happens. Bring the Daedalus Initiative online. While the public knew about the defensive capabilities that had protected Earth, they remained unaware of the offensive technologies developed alongside them. The Daedalus Initiative represented humanity's most advanced weapons platform, a system designed not to destroy, but to disable and control. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, in a facility carved into the bedrock, scientists and military personnel activated systems that had never been used outside of testing. Quantum computers processed unprecedented amounts of data, mapping every frequency, every communication protocol, every electronic signature emanating from the Caraxian fleet. On her flagship, Supreme Commander Carax raged at his officers. Find a way through their containment fields. Reconfigure our drive systems to create a resonance cascade. His crew worked frantically, adjusting their technology to counter Earth's unexpected defenses. Slowly, they began making progress. The containment field around one vessel began to flicker and weaken. We found a frequency modulation that disrupts their field technology, his science officer reported, transmitting the specifications to the rest of the fleet now. Carax smiled coldly. Excellent. Once we break free, target their defense network nodes, then resume planetary bombardment. Sir, his communications officer interrupted, we're detecting an unusual signal pattern emanating from Earth. It's interfacing with our systems somehow. Block it, Carax ordered. We're trying, sir, but it's adaptive. It changes faster than our countermeasures can respond. Carax felt the first stirrings of real concern. Isolate all critical systems. Sever the fleet's integrated network if necessary. But it was too late. The signal, a quantum-encrypted AI algorithm designed specifically to infiltrate and manipulate alien technology, had already penetrated their defenses. Across the Caraxian fleet, control systems began behaving erratically. Weapons powered down. Navigation systems reset themselves. Life support remained operational, but little else responded to commands. On Earth, Helena received the update she'd been waiting for. Daedalus has achieved 83% system penetration across the Caraxian fleet, Admiral. Their weapons and propulsion are under our control. Life support and communications remain accessible to their crew. Helena nodded in satisfaction. Open a channel to Commander Carax. When the alien commander's face appeared on screen, his 4 eyes blazing with fury, Helena spoke calmly. Your fleet is now under our control, Commander. Your weapons are disabled, your engines are offline, and your communication with your home world has been temporarily restricted. This is impossible, Carax sputtered. Your species hasn't even achieved meaningful interstellar travel. That was a choice, not a limitation, Helena replied. We detected your civilization's signals decades ago. We observed your expansion through neighboring systems. We watched how you subjugated less advanced species, and we decided to focus our resources differently. You're lying, Carax hissed. No species would detect potential threats and not expand to meet them. Helena smiled. That's where you're wrong. We expanded inward, not outward. We developed technologies to protect our home rather than conquer others. And now we're giving you a choice. She leaned forward slightly. We will release your fleet intact and undamaged. You will return to your territory and deliver a message to your leaders. Earth is not a target. Earth is not a conquest. Earth wishes peaceful relations with the Caraxian Dominion, but we will not be subjugated. And if I refuse, then we will be forced to demonstrate capabilities beyond what you've already witnessed, Helena said, her voice hardening. "Capabilities we've developed but hoped never to use." As if to punctuate her point, a small probe launched from Earth, approaching one of the disabled Caraxian vessels. Before their eyes, the probe emitted a field that caused a small section of the alien ship's hull to simply cease to exist. Not destroyed, not damaged. The atoms themselves were selectively removed from reality, leaving a perfectly circular hole 10 meters in diameter. "Controlled quantum excision," Helena explained. "We can apply it with precision, or more broadly." Carax stared at the hole in his support vessel's hull, understanding the implications. These humans could, potentially, remove their entire fleet from existence. It would violate every law of physics he understood, but then, much of what they had already demonstrated did the same. "Your terms?" he asked, his voice subdued. "As I said, leave peacefully. Inform your leadership that Earth is not to be approached with hostile intent, and consider opening diplomatic relations on equal footing." Carax considered his options, which were non-existent. Even if he could somehow regain control of his fleet, the humans had demonstrated capabilities that rendered conventional military advantage meaningless. "Agreed," he said finally. "We will withdraw and deliver your message." Helena nodded. "Excellent. We will gradually restore your systems over the next 12 hours. Your fleet will remain under observation until you pass the orbital path of Saturn. Any deviation from your exit trajectory will be considered a hostile action." As the transmission ended, Helena turned to her officers. "Maintain containment protocols until their ships are fully dispatched from our system, and contact the Defense Council. They'll want a full briefing." Over the next day, Earth watched as the Caraxian fleet, systems partially restored, limped away from the planet they had intended to conquer. News outlets speculated on what this meant for humanity's future, experts debated the technological and political implications, and ordinary citizens looked to the stars with new understanding of their place in a wider universe. In the secure conference chamber beneath Geneva, Helena delivered her report to the assembled Defense Council. "The Caraxians have cleared Saturn's orbit and continue on their exit vector," she concluded. "All indicators suggest they're returning to their territory as agreed." "Will they honor their word?" asked the Russian representative. "Or will they return with a larger force?" Dr. Okafor, who had been analyzing the data collected during the encounter, spoke up. "Based on what we've learned of their communication patterns and cultural indicators, they respect strength above all. Our demonstration was convincing." Nevertheless, Helena added, "I recommend we accelerate deployment of the Deep Space Monitoring Network. Phase 2 of our defense strategy should be implemented immediately." The Defense Council unanimously approved. While Earth had successfully defended itself this time, humanity had no illusions that they had seen the last of interstellar visitors, hostile or otherwise. As the meeting concluded, the Secretary General approached Helena privately. "Admiral, there's been discussion among some council members. They believe this encounter proves we should change our approach, become more aggressive, establish military outposts beyond our system, perhaps even reverse engineer Caraxian technology to advance our own capabilities." Helena considered this carefully before responding. "We prevailed precisely because we didn't follow the expected path of development. The Caraxians couldn't conceive of a species that would detect others in the galaxy and not immediately seek to expand territorially. That blind spot was our advantage." She looked up at the view screen, showing the retreating alien fleet. "We should certainly learn from this encounter, adapt our defenses, and prepare for future contact. But if we abandon our principles now and become conquerors ourselves, we lose what makes humanity worth defending in the first place." The Secretary General nodded slowly. "I'll convey your thoughts to the Council. For now, Earth celebrates a victory, not just of technology, but of foresight." As Helena left the conference chamber, her communication device signaled an incoming message. It was from Deep Space Tracking. The Caraxian fleet had transmitted a long-range communication toward their home territory. Earth's quantum intercept systems had partially decoded it. The message was simple. First contact with Sol system inhabitants unsuccessful. Indigenous species designated human possesses unexpected technological capabilities. Military subjugation not advisable. Recommend diplomatic approach and technological exchange. Helena smiled to herself. Perhaps there was hope for peaceful relations after all. Earth had demonstrated that it could not be conquered, but also that it could show restraint. In the vast darkness between stars, that combination might prove to be humanity's greatest strength. In the coming months, Earth would prepare for whatever came next, whether diplomatic envoys or more hostile visitors. The quantum lattice would be enhanced, the Daedalus initiative refined, and new defensive technologies developed. But humanity would maintain its core philosophy. Defend, don't conquer. Protect, don't expand. And when possible, seek understanding rather than conflict. Because in the end, that approach had accomplished what superior firepower alone never could. It had earned respect.